Hollywood loves to sell the dream: perfect abs, flawless smiles, and heartthrobs who seem larger than life. But behind the red carpets and flashing cameras lies a darker truth. In this industry, being honest about who you are can cost you everything. For decades, young stars have been told the same rule: hide your truth or lose your career. And when some finally refused to play along, they paid the price. Roles disappeared, fan bases vanished, and overnight, the dream they built crumbled into scandal. These weren't fading stars. They were beautiful, talented men at the peak of their careers, and their only mistake was confessing they were gay. From a model-turned-actor erased from mainstream projects, to a Disney idol punished for breaking the illusion, to a YouTube sensation who watched his empire collapse, to TV heartthrobs whose truth cost them leading man roles, these stories aren't just about Hollywood. They're about how fragile fame really is when your identity doesn't fit the fantasy. You're watching Rainbow Spotlight, the channel that uncovers scandals, secrets, and LGBTQ+ stories Hollywood doesn't want you to hear. Stick around until the end, and only hit subscribe if these shocking stories prove the truth matters more than fame. Matthew Camp looked like he was born for stardom. With his sculpted body, tattooed edge, and smoldering charisma, he had the kind of presence Hollywood loves to mold into the next big thing. He started as a model and dancer, built a following on social media, and even landed roles in indie films. For fans, he was the perfect mix of beauty and danger, the kind of heartthrob who could have easily made the leap to mainstream fame. But behind the fantasy, Matthew carried a truth that Hollywood wasn't ready for. And when he finally chose to live openly, it cost him everything. From the beginning, Matthew refused to play the Hollywood game. He didn't hide his sexuality, his queer identity, or even his work in nightlife and adult performance spaces. While managers and agents urged him to clean up his image and market himself as the next straight bad boy, Matthew said no. In an industry obsessed with selling illusion, he was determined to stay authentic. The result was both shocking and devastating. Fans loved him for his honesty, but Hollywood didn't. Casting directors hesitated, studios stayed away, and mainstream opportunities disappeared. For Matthew, being openly gay wasn't just a label. It was a barrier that blocked him from roles he was more than qualified to play. He later admitted that industry insiders told him flat out, "You're too gay, too open, too risky." Instead of climbing the ladder to blockbuster stardom, Matthew found himself pushed to the margins. His projects remained mostly independent, his fame concentrated within LGBTQ+ circles rather than across the mainstream. And while he embraced that community with pride, the cost was undeniable. Hollywood doors that should have opened for someone with his talent and look slammed shut because he refused to hide. The fan debate has always been raw. Supporters see Matthew as a hero, someone who sacrificed the glitter of fake acceptance for the authenticity of real pride. Critics argue that by being so unapologetically himself, he limited his own chances. But Matthew himself has been clear. Fame without truth was never an option. What makes Matthew Camp's story shocking isn't just that he came out. It's that he never had the chance to stay hidden. In a system that rewards silence and punishes honesty, Matthew's refusal to compromise meant losing the dream of Hollywood stardom. But in losing that, he gained something greater: the respect of a community that values truth above all. By 2025, Matthew Camp may not headline blockbusters, but he remains a queer icon, a reminder that beauty and bravery often come at a price. His story proves that sometimes risking everything doesn't mean winning fame. It means choosing yourself, no matter the cost. So, what do you think? Did Matthew Camp throw away the chance to be a mainstream star, or did he prove that living authentically is worth more than Hollywood's empty promises? Drop a 1 in the comments if you think his shocking story makes him one of the bravest stars of his generation. Cody Fern was supposed to be Hollywood's next big thing. With his sharp cheekbones, piercing blue eyes, and a mysterious allure that made him stand out in every room, he had the kind of beauty casting directors dream about. He burst onto the scene in American Crime Story, The Assassination of Gianni Versace, and quickly became a breakout star in American Horror Story. To fans, Cody wasn't just talented, he was mesmerizing. But behind his rise was a truth that Hollywood wasn't ready to embrace. And when Cody confessed it, the industry quietly turned its back. Unlike many young actors who play along with the straight fantasy, Cody refused to conform. In interviews, he openly identified as queer, unapologetically rejecting Hollywood's obsession with labels and heteronormative images. He wore gender-fluid fashion on red carpets, played complex queer characters on screen, and spoke candidly about not fitting into boxes. For fans, his authenticity was electrifying. For Hollywood, it was risky. The industry had all the ingredients for a leading man in Cody: looks, talent, and charisma. Yet after his breakout, the big opportunities never came. No Marvel films, no blockbuster romances. Instead, Cody found himself typecast, limited to indie projects or roles where his queerness was already the focal point. Insiders whispered what he already knew. Being openly queer made executives nervous. The shocking part wasn't just his confession, it was how quickly Hollywood cooled on him afterward. At the very moment he should have been launched into superstardom, the phone stopped ringing. Cody himself hinted at the cost, saying that his refusal to hide made him a liability to certain producers. For a man as striking and talented as Cody, the absence of roles was louder than words. Fans, however, never abandoned him. Online communities rallied around his every appearance, praising him for refusing to compromise. They saw his red carpet looks, his interviews, his unapologetic queer energy, and celebrated what Hollywood tried to punish. To them, Cody wasn't just another actor, he was proof that beauty and authenticity could coexist, even if it came at a price. The fan debate continues. Some argue Cody sabotaged his own rise by refusing to play the Hollywood game. Others insist he's a hero for standing firm, even if it meant losing everything. Either way, his story is shocking because it shows that even in 2025, Hollywood still punishes those who won't hide. By now, Cody Fern may not have the blockbuster career his looks and talent promised, but he has something different: cult icon status. His confession and refusal to compromise turned him from a rising star into a symbol of resistance, admired by fans who see him as a rebel against Hollywood's shallow rules. So what about you? Did Cody Fern lose the career he deserved, or did he gain a legacy that means more than fame? Drop a 2 in the comments if you think his shocking story proves Hollywood still isn't ready for the truth. Lucas Cruikshank was one of the first true YouTube superstars. Before TikTok, before influencer culture, there was Fred, the squeaky-voiced, hyperactive character Lucas created as a teenager. That bizarre little persona turned him into a global sensation. By the time he was 15, Lucas had millions of subscribers, movie deals with Nickelodeon, and the kind of fame most kids could only dream of. He was the face of a new era. But behind the comedy, Lucas carried a secret that, once confessed, changed his career forever. At the height of Fred's popularity, Lucas was constantly asked about his personal life. Teen magazines speculated about crushes. Nickelodeon packaged him as a goofy but safe idol for kids, and fans treated him like the boy next door of the internet. The unspoken rule was clear: stay relatable, stay marketable, and definitely stay straight. Lucas later admitted the pressure was suffocating. In 2013, Lucas broke that illusion. In a casual YouTube Q&A, he confessed, "I'm gay. My friends and family have known for years, but now you guys know too. It wasn't staged, it wasn't dramatic, it was honest. But the honesty came with a price." The reaction was mixed. Many fans celebrated him, praising his bravery and thanking him for being a role model. But in Hollywood and children's entertainment, the tone was different. Nickelodeon quietly distanced itself. The Fred franchise fizzled. Casting opportunities that might have evolved his career into mainstream teen stardom never came. Lucas himself admitted later that after coming out, the calls slowed down, and the industry didn't quite know what to do with him anymore. What made the confession shocking wasn't just that Lucas was gay, it was that he came out while still tied to a kid's brand. At the time, openly gay representation in children's media was almost unheard of. For executives and sponsors, Lucas's truth was too risky. The boy who had once been Nickelodeon's golden child suddenly felt like an outsider. Fans still debate what happened. Some argue Lucas was simply a product of internet fame, destined to fade after Fred ran its course. Others insist his confession accelerated the decline, that Hollywood was never going to let a young gay star transition smoothly from child-friendly content to adult stardom. What can't be denied is that Lucas's trajectory changed dramatically the moment he spoke his truth. By 2025, Lucas Cruikshank is no longer a mainstream fixture, but he remains a pioneer. He was one of the first YouTubers to turn viral fame into a real career, and one of the first internet stars to come out publicly. For LGBTQ+ fans, his shocking confession was both a loss and a gain. He may have lost Hollywood, but he gave the world a piece of himself that mattered more. So what about you? Did Lucas Cruikshank lose everything because of his confession, or was his honesty the bravest choice he could have made? Drop a 3 in the comments if you think his story is one of the most shocking examples of fame lost to truth. Thomas Dekker was supposed to be a household name. With his sharp features, piercing eyes, and raw talent, he rose quickly in the mid-2000s, landing roles in Heroes, The Secret Circle, and Terminator, The Sarah Connor Chronicles. He was handsome, magnetic, and versatile, the kind of actor Hollywood could easily turn into its next big leading man. But instead of superstardom, Thomas ended up with a story that remains one of Hollywood's most shocking examples of how a gay confession can cost you everything. From the start, Dekker's career seemed unstoppable. He became a teen heartthrob on Heroes and then carried a major role in Terminator. But with that rise came rumors. Hollywood insiders whispered about his sexuality, and tabloids speculated constantly. For Thomas, the pressure was crushing. Managers and executives urged him to stay quiet, warning that admitting he was gay would end his career. In 2017, his secret exploded, but not on his terms. During a speech at the LGBT+ Outfest, producer Brian Fuller outed him publicly while discussing the lack of openly gay actors in Hollywood. For Thomas, it was devastating. He had been robbed of his right to tell his own story. Days later, he posted on Instagram, "Yes, I'm gay. I refused to be defined by it in the past. Today, I am choosing to come out." The confession shocked fans, not because they didn't suspect, but because of the way it happened. Dekker hadn't chosen to come out. He had been pushed, exposed in front of an industry that was still unforgiving. The fallout was brutal. Casting opportunities dried up. He went from starring in network shows to struggling to find mainstream roles. Hollywood, it seemed, didn't want its heartthrobs to be gay, and Thomas became living proof. Fans were divided. Supporters called him brave, praising his decision to reclaim the narrative after being forced out. Critics claimed his career was already fading, and that being gay just confirmed Hollywood's worst biases. Either way, the cost was clear. Dekker's confession ended the momentum that once promised a glittering future. What makes his story shocking isn't just that he came out. It's that he lost control of the narrative. Unlike stars who confessed on their own terms, Thomas had no choice. In one moment, his career trajectory changed forever. Instead of leading man fame, he was left battling stigma, regret, and the reality that authenticity had cost him the very dream he had chased since childhood. By 2025, Thomas Dekker is remembered less for his roles and more for the cautionary tale of what Hollywood does to young gay actors. He risked nothing by choice, but he lost everything anyway. So what do you think? Was Thomas Decker's career doomed the moment he was outed? Or could Hollywood have saved him if the industry truly valued honesty? Drop a 4 in the comments if you think his story is one of the most tragic confessions in Hollywood. Jake Borelli had everything a young actor could dream of. With his boyish smile, curly hair, and warm screen presence, he looked destined to be a breakout star. And for a while he was. On Grey's Anatomy, one of television's longest-running hits, Jake won fans as Dr. Levi Schmidt, the awkward but lovable intern who grew into a fan favorite. It seemed like his career was only just beginning. But then Jake made a shocking confession that would change everything and cost him far more than he ever expected. In 2018, while Grey's Anatomy was exploring its first gay male romance between his character Levi and Nico, played by Alex Landy, Jake decided to make a bold move. Moments after the episode aired, he posted on Instagram, "As a gay guy myself, tonight's episode was so special to me. This is exactly the kind of story I craved as a kid." With that one post, he came out publicly to the world. Fans were stunned. Some were thrilled, praising Jake for his courage and celebrating the fact that a popular actor on one of TV's biggest shows had come out at the same time as his character. For LGBTQ+ audiences, it was historic. Jake wasn't just acting, he was living his truth on screen. But Hollywood is rarely so kind. Almost immediately, industry insiders began whispering about his future. Casting directors, who had once seen him as a versatile young talent, suddenly viewed him as the gay doctor from Grey's Anatomy. Leading man auditions dried up. Romantic roles with female co-stars stopped coming in. Even though Jake was talented enough to transcend one show, his confession became a label he couldn't escape. The shocking part wasn't just that Jake came out, it was how quickly the industry punished him for it. By being honest, he risked his career, and for many, it looked like he lost. While Grey's Anatomy gave him visibility, the leap to mainstream stardom never happened. Instead of landing movies or headlining new series, Jake remained tied to the same role, his career boxed in by a confession that should have set him free. Fans debate his story to this day. Supporters argue Jake is a trailblazer who gave representation at a critical moment in TV history. Critics claim his confession limited him, that maybe he should have waited until he had built a stronger resume. But Jake himself has no regrets. He said in interviews that authenticity mattered more than fame, that by coming out, he became the role model he never had. By 2025, Jake Borelli is still recognized and loved, but his story stands as a warning. Hollywood's smiles are often conditional. He risked everything, and though he may have lost the stardom many expected, he gained something no one can take away: freedom, pride, and the chance to inspire queer fans around the world. So, what about you? Did Jake Borelli sacrifice too much for honesty, or did he prove that being real is worth more than any role? Drop a 5 in the comments if you think his story is one of Hollywood's most shocking gay confessions. Five men, 5 shocking confessions, and 5 careers forever changed by the courage to live honestly. From Matthew Camp's refusal to play Hollywood's game, to Cody Fern's unapologetic queerness, to Lucas Cruikshank's honesty at the height of YouTube fame, to Thomas Decker's painful outing, and Jake Borelli's risky confession on television. Each story proves that in Hollywood, truth can cost more than fame can buy. In an industry built on illusions, These stars paid the price for being real. They lost roles, opportunities, and sometimes entire careers. But in losing everything, they also gave us something greater: authenticity, visibility, and a reminder that fame means nothing if it isn't lived truthfully. You've been watching Rainbow Spotlight, the channel that uncovers scandals, secrets, and LGBTQ+ stories Hollywood doesn't want you to hear. Other creators beg for your subscription at the start. We're not like them. If this video kept you watching until the very end, only then hit subscribe and turn on the bell. Now it's your turn. Whose story shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell us. Do you think honesty is worth the price of a career in Hollywood?